Have you been in your spiritual journey for a while? Do you want to know what's next? Keep watching to know more about the following 3 stages of spiritual awakening. So in the first video we talked about basically the first 3 stages of ascension. And today we're going to talk about descension. So we left it at the dark night of the soul, and we were in the red circle that represents the unconscious memory of the soul, which is 95 to 99% of our conditioning. And it's where all the memories from past lives or family inheritance and even planetary archetypal energies are stored. And so we are stepping into a stage that is only for the brave ones. And it's the one that one has to cross to be able to cross the bridge of 4D into 5D. And here is where the strongest survival emotions are going to be triggered. And it's where we reach the bottom of the rabbit hole to clear the deepest energies. And so in the previous video we were talking about how when we get into spirituality we are excited because we start connecting, especially in meditation or so, with these very high frequency energies, and it's very beautiful, and we are opening our hearts and we are accessing the higher chakras, and we can be having amazing visions, amazing meditations, we can have very beautiful dreams, we can start getting some of our memories back. But this is not over yet, because this would be ascension, you're going up. And this goes in 2 directions, because we're not only going up, but we're also descending our soul into our bodies. And to do that, we need to go into the lower chakras. And here is where it gets interesting, because I talked about how you have to start digging, but I wouldn't say you have to be digging, because sometimes there's also these distortions about how one has to be healing all the time, and it can be misaligned sometimes. I like to heal with the moon, because every new moon is connecting the focus with a very particular energy of the zodiac wheel. And so you can heal in layers as you are called to, because this is really a process of the soul. So it's not something we are managing with our ego. It's more about surrendering to the process and going with the flow. And life is bringing you everything that you need to pay attention to each moment. So don't really take it as a to-do list, but really go inside and listen. And here it's about going deep within, connecting with your rawest truth and being really honest. So that's why when we only want to be in the higher beautiful energies, which are great, we are missing out on how to go into the next level, because if we only want to stay there and forget about descending and actually living from that higher frequency, we're gonna get stuck in the process. And yes, spirituality will be a nice hobby, but nothing else. We will keep in the incarnation cycle, because our body will be still anchored into the lowest frequencies from past lives and so on. And so that's what attracts the soul into continuing the journey here. So it is for the brave ones, because it takes be willing to lose whatever your ego built to protect you from yourself, from your own soul, from your own memories, and from what was keeping you trapped into your deepest patterns and deepest wounds. So there's no way around this. You really have to go in there and feel it, because whatever got stuck, whatever got trapped in the lower chakras is basically what you didn't allow yourself to experience, and got stuck because you were too afraid to get in touch with it. And so you kind of reserved it for another time where you'll be able to handle it. And while you store that, that's actually taking a lot of your energy that is keeping that into place and repeating patterns that keep you in the same place. So if you wanna continue, you go in there, and you go in there when you feel called to, because it also makes sense that you first connect with the higher chakras that are going to really connect you with this higher love, and that is not depending on the outside, on external sources. and it's not codependent. So when you're really anchored in your heart and living from your center, you have that power to go in there without getting lost. So here, superficial techniques don't work. You get in touch with your nervous system and with survival mechanisms. And because it takes the ego to go farther from what it known so far, even if you are stuck in a situation that it's very difficult or painful, because what's beyond that is unknown for the ego, it's going to use all its self-defense mechanisms to keep you in there, in the known, in the comfort zone. And so it's important to be aware that here you're not handling only something rational, it's not something you can reason with, but it's your unconscious, and it can manifest in different forms that don't even feel like you doing it, like external circumstances or situations. But when you are aware and in connection with your soul, you'll know that this is there to trigger you into going in there and finally being able to access that energy and clear it so it's available again to really go into 5D and complete the ascension process and really go into the ascension and soul embodiment. And again, it can look very different from one person to the other, but it will probably bring you to your darkest moments or darkest places. For example, if you're having a relationship with someone who is connecting you to abusive situations that you lived with past partners or with your family or in a previous life. And this is how you dissolve the illusion of the 3D matrix, because by crossing it, by going through it, not bypassing it, not simply staying in the higher realms, but really grounding and living that higher truth every day. And I'm just starting to step out of this stage and still going through it. Sometimes it can feel like you cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it takes faith to know it's there. And also train yourself to differentiate frequencies, because you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions. And when you're traveling into the lower realms and connecting with these past emotions or belief systems, you don't want to get lost in there, but you don't have to engage into any kind of fear, because you are only facing your own fears. So here it's important to be very centered and know that when you are in certain frequencies, you're gonna connect with certain thoughts that are not even yours. So don't create identities there, and choose where you're anchoring. So here it's not necessarily so linear, because you're maybe experimenting frequencies from the last stage and then going back to another one, because most of your energy is anchored there. So you go layer by layer and you're anchoring in higher frequencies, and then visiting lower realms where you maybe have parts of your soul that are trapped there and liberating it. So more of your energy is able to really stabilize into a higher frequency. And it's something that is progressive. And what helped me the most in this process is astrology, because this is the way I'm able to connect with each energy without identifying with it, and being able to transition each step of the process, layer by layer. And in the physical, you maybe lose partners, lose friends, lose jobs, lose clients, and you can really reach a 0 point where you are starting flat again. And as I was mentioning in the previous video, don't identify, because you are quantum jumping from one reality to another very fast. And don't believe so much what you're seeing outside while you're in this process, because know that it's temporary. Despite, in my case, for example, it's been approximately 1 year per stage. And I'm working with the sun, because the sun has year cycles, and with the moon every month going through a different emotional cycle. And so with the zodiac wheel, for example, you are experimenting every energy, and then if there's energy stuck in there, liberating it, and in layers, because every year you go again and know that this process can be infinite because there's always more of you. Your soul is infinite, so there's always more of you can access. And so this brings us to the next stage, which puts us in contact with multidimensionality. And this is a very beautiful stage. I remember when I was guided to a book from Eva Marquez that I will be talking about in following videos, and I discovered my starseed origins and started connecting with galactic frequencies because we haven't had only past lives on Earth, but also on other star systems. And again, you can be connecting with this starseed origin and multidimensionality, which means you are realizing that as time is an illusion, you are living in different dimensions at the same time, and there's other parallel lives in these different planets. But to really embody that multidimensionality and be anchored in it and able to connect with your galactic family more easily, it takes going through that hell, which is your personal storage of wounds, so you can come back to the present, because those wounds were anchoring you to a past that you don't have to be anchored to anymore, because it only exists now and it's infinite possibilities. And when you are able to really clear that and come back fully to the now and to your presence in your body here and now, this is precisely when you connect the most to other dimensions, because there are no distortions that are distracting you from your truth, which is that you are a multidimensional being and you are having all these lives all over the universe. And here you're able to astral travel, you can have more lucid dreams. I remember that another book I was guided to, which I will also be talking about in future videos, I had an amazing lucid dream where I traveled to an interdimension of shapeshifters, and they were showing me different people that were actually all me, and they were all changing forms all the time. And then I wasn't able to hold a frequency, and then I was starting to connect with their problems, and then I came back and woke up. And here you can also download a lot of your spiritual gifts from other lifetimes or from your higher selves. You can start speaking light languages, and you can activate all your DNA and access technology also from other advanced civilizations. But remember, it's very important that you complete this soul healing first, and you don't get trapped into the ego and the mind trying to control the process by believing you're kind of better than others or something like that, because that would bring you to the start point, which is transcending your ego. And so you really go step by step, and don't be hard on yourself, because your ego is going to be triggered on the way, and it's actually pointing you to where you need to love yourself more, because it's easy to love the shiny parts of you, but it's not so easy to love these other parts of you, which are the ones that need it the most. So you go step by step, and there is going to be a back and forth, but also know that you are open to more and more of who you really are, and more of your abilities, and more of your truth, and transcending all these lies that we have bought into, that we have believed until now. And it's also a process of purification, because you are downloading all these frequencies into the heart of the earth. And the idea is, as I was talking about, emptying the vessel of everything that is not true, so it can be alchemized by Gaia, and then you can connect to your original frequency and your mission here. And here we are in 5D, which would be the green circle, and this is your essence, this is who you really are, and this doesn't take any effort from you because it's your natural state. It's not something, as we have believed, that we have to make an effort to reach our potential, and it's not true, because our potential, it's our nature, it's what's there by default. What takes a lot of effort is to sustain all that structure that the ego built to try to protect us from the past. But the past is no longer here, and now we are able to let go of it and really jump into this new paradigm where we have access to more of us. And so the next stage is going from that green circle into the center again, and that's where we reach the creator consciousness. Not when we go up in the heaven and then find God, But when we actually bring our true nature into the heart, into our heart and into the heart of the earth, and this would be full embodiment of your essence, because you are the creator and you are everything. And this is not a journey of learning something new. This is mostly a journey of remembering what we forgot, because we went from everything to coming here to have a physical experience and embody that everything into physicality. And so that's why integration is such a key part of the process, not just going up, but descending this creator consciousness and remembering that we were always there and we simply chose to forget so we could have this experience and share it with the collective, knowing there's no hierarchy, that each one of us is source, and some parts forgot more, some parts are here to remind others of their truth. And so by embodying our truth, we are becoming examples, not saving others, but saving ourselves and becoming this example and embodying this frequency, making it available for everyone. So realize it's not really that you are scaling and making an effort to reach higher, but just knowing that you're already up there, down there, everywhere, and that you are choosing where you want to anchor, because you have that power and you are reclaiming it as you go through this process. Thank you for your presence until here. Let me know in the comments what's been your experience so far. Keep tuned for the next videos about the new moon in Gemini and more book reviews about Eva Market books on starseeds. And if you haven't watched it yet, I really recommend you to check out my video about the full moon in Scorpio, which is the energy that will be available until the new moon. And if you haven't watched it yet, you can watch the first part of this video about the first 3 stages of spiritual awakening. Hit the like button if you got value, subscribe to the channel, and remember, you are the creator, so choose your interpretation wisely. And looking forward to see you in the next video.